It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life will inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change your attitude, change your life. And now, here's your host, Joan Herman.
Welcome to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life brings you interviews with some of the most inspirational and influential people in the world. It's our goal to educate and empower you so you can live your best life now. Thank you for taking time for yourself, and thank you for letting us be a part of your life. We have another great show for you today. Author Judy Blume grew up creating stories inside her head. When she got older, she wrote them down on paper. Those stories have become treasures to those who have journeyed with her throughout the years. Judy's books include Are You There, God?, It's Me, Margaret, Blubber, Just As Long As We're Together, plus 3 novels for adults which became New York Times bestsellers. More than 85 million copies of Judy's books have been sold, and her work has been translated into 32 languages. She's a longtime advocate of intellectual freedom and has worked with the National Coalition Against Censorship to protect the freedom to read. Welcome, Judy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Judy, it is such an honor for me to have you here. Growing up, one of my favorite books was Forever, and then I loved the movie, and you have had such an amazing career. Did you always know that you wanted to be a writer?
I had no idea, actually, no, because growing up in the 50s, nobody ever told me it was possible. And even though I was a reader, it never occurred to me that those books were written by people who might still be alive. So, no, I didn't know. I had no idea. I was a really creative, imaginative, kind of curious kid, shy underneath, but not so shy after I was a teenager. If you met me, you wouldn't have known that.
Judy, what was it like for a woman then breaking into the industry?
Well, I started writing in the 60s after I had 2 kids by the time I was 25, and I started writing right after that. So that would have been the late 60s. And writing children's books, it never occurred to me then to write anything but children's books because I identified with kids. I understood them. I remembered everything about being a kid then. And so there wasn't any breaking in for me. I mean, you could have been a man or a woman. Whether you were going to get published would have been the same thing. A lot of women wrote children's books. In fact, maybe we were relegated to writing children's books. I never felt that way because writing children's books was what I wanted to do then.
So, Judy, what would you consider to be your quote-unquote big break? What thrust you onto the path of success that I just described?
I do think, with my first rejection, I did go into the closet and cry. I didn't want the children to see me crying, so I went into the closet and closed the door and I cried. And then I said, this is ridiculous. I'm never crying again over a rejection because wait till they see what I'm writing now. And I was determined. I had that, whatever you want to call it, I wasn't going to give up. I just kept going. I didn't let anyone stop me. And I do think when people ask me that determination is every bit as important as talent. I mean, talent, of course, but there are a lot of talented people, and they're not going to get there if they let other people stop them or they don't have that self-determination.
So, Judy, being determined, that's a wonderful life lesson. And as someone who's achieved so much throughout your career, what are some of the important life lessons that you've learned in addition to being determined?
Oh, my. Well, we just learn as we go, don't we? I mean, you never know. just like the title of the new book, In the Unlikely Event. I mean, terrible things can happen, wonderful things can happen, and most of us just keep going on, and you learn along the way. My father was a bit of a philosopher. He was a wonderful, wonderful man, and he died when he was just 54 and I was 21. So we didn't get to know each other as adults, but he certainly gave me some of his wisdom, and it helps me to this day, which is that life goes on, and we get back up and dust ourselves off and say life is for the living. There are characters in this book, because it takes place in the 50s, who say the same things as my father. You're lucky if you have someone like that in your life. Again, I didn't have him in my life long enough, but he was there at the beginning.
So, Judy, you just mentioned your new book, In the Unlikely Event. Tell us about this book.
Well, I now think, I might be making this up, but I now believe that this is the book that I was meant to write.
Okay.
And this is the last long novel for me, and this is the book I'm glad that I'll be going out on. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not going to write anymore, and I have a lot of creative energy still, so there will be things going on. But this book, In the Unlikely Event, is a book that must have been buried deep inside me for a very long time, because the background, it's fiction, but the background of the book is events that happened in Elizabeth, New Jersey, during a 58-day period in the winter of 1951-52, when I was a young teenager. And it was a series of airplane crashes. These 3 planes crashed into Elizabeth, New Jersey, and each of them near a school, one of them into the field of the only orphanage in town. So as kids, and especially me as a dramatic, imaginative kid, and since no one was talking to us about what was going on, there was no TV news coverage then. Of course, there was no internet, and so it was kind of word of mouth. Yes, I could have read about it in the newspapers, which I spent months doing before I started this book, but I don't think I was reading the newspapers very much when I was 14. I don't know, or else I buried all of this. But we couldn't explain this, and there was no adult to sit and talk with us. No parent, no teacher ever talked to us about what was going on. And so in the book, which is fiction, I've created 3 families and 3 generations of each family, and there's a lot of characters, but I did promise you that all of these characters are intertwined and come together before the end of the book.
The book is In the Unlikely Event by Judy Blume. If you would like to learn more about Judy and her work, you can visit her website, judyblume.com. Judy, in our final moments, as I mentioned, you have been working against censorship and working towards the importance of all of us reading. What would you say, as someone who began with children's books and has had this amazing career, what would you say to help us get our children reading at a young age?
We want to read to our children long before they can read themselves. We want to. We just opened a bookstore in Key West, an independent bookstore, and when babies come in, last Sunday I had 2 babies sitting on the floor, and I was thrilled to put into their hands a Max and Ruby board book by Rosemary Wells. I love those books, and watching this little girl, she was really turning pages. She was really looking at this. And I just wanted to get down there on the floor and read to her. But I know that her mother does that. Reading to them from the earliest age is the most important thing. Showing them that you love to read, letting them see you. I mean, the best gift my parents ever gave to me was the gift of reading, that letting me know that reading is a wonderful thing, that we celebrate reading in our family. They never questioned what I was reading. And I was reading adult books. There were no YA books. I was reading adult books from the time I was 12. And, you know, these books were by great authors. They satisfied my curiosity about the adult world, which I really wanted to know about, again, because it was the 50s and nobody told us anything. So reading is the greatest gift that you can give to your kids. Read to them. Never be judgmental. I know it can be hard. Don't be judgmental about the books they choose for themselves. Try to encourage them to read widely. If they only want to read one series at a time, okay, go with it. They're reading. You know, I want to grab them away from that shelf in my bookstore, but I don't. Because they're choosing books, and that's what's important, and they're going to read them.
Judy, thank you so much for being here with us today. This has really been a treat for me because I've grown up reading your books. And as you say, reading is a gift, and I want to thank you for sharing your gift with all of us. And thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
We'll be right back. Hi, this is Joan Herman, host of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Did you know that Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox? Every month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide information to educate, inspire, and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. Check out a copy of Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life 24/7. Visit cyacyl.com and be sure to tell your friends. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the show informative. At Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life, we believe that knowledge is power. Take what you've learned, apply it, and live your best life now. Remember that the information provided are the opinions of our guests and should never replace the advice of a professional who knows your personal situation. If you'd like more information, visit our website, cyacyl.com. That stands for Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. While on the site, listen to past shows on demand, read the digital magazine, and be sure to follow the show on Facebook and Twitter. Until next time, this is Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.